Well, happy Tuesday. I had to think about it. I always look at Cece first and I'm like, she's going to tell me if it's the other day. Hey, adulting, you know that's just how it goes. Thank you so much for joining us here at KARE 11 News at noon. We got a whole lot to talk about, things that could determine how and where you'll be able to celebrate your 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, that's one of the stories I'll be covering. Minneapolis park workers actually just announced this morning that they're going on strike, so I'll have more details about that soon.
That's big news. Also, the weather, always big news. I was told by Big Mike, my dad, he was like, ask Ben about everything, because I'm trying to go on vacation and I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't text you about this, so that's why I'm asking.
During commercial breaks, you get a personalized forecast for you and your travels, but we want to talk about what's happening around your area right now. You can see temperatures kind of on the cooler side, depending on if you have sunshine. Look at this, 67 degrees here. It's 77 degrees in Willmar. That's not a warm front. It's just kind of sunny out across western Minnesota. So we're stuck in the overcast on this side of the state, at least for now, and some patchy drizzle. You could expect to see some light showers to show up later this afternoon, with southeastern Minnesota getting a chance at some thunderstorms later today. But I think the thunder is going to stay away from us here around the Twin Cities. In the short term, yeah, it's cloudy. Yeah, you are noticing some patchy areas of drizzle, but I do think we're going to squeeze out at least a couple hours of sunshine, but it's probably not until, say, later this afternoon into the evening hours, say after the evening commute. Otherwise, temperatures holding in the 70s until then. Watch out for some isolated thunderstorms later, but again, that threat is across southeastern Minnesota. We have a lovely Wednesday in the forecast. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures should return to the low to even mid-80s. And then, yes, scattered showers and thunderstorms are looking more and more likely on the 4th of July. We'll time out that forecast, let you know if we have any dry weather in your holiday weekend forecast. That's coming up, Alexis.
Ben, thank you. Well, red, white, and strike. Minneapolis park workers plan to demonstrate on the 4th, leaving visitors on their own, and that's because of contract negotiations have failed so far. Cece is here with some new developments.
Yeah, you know, just before 9:45 this morning, actually, Minneapolis parks workers announced that they will strike. Union reps say after 7 months, negotiations have stalled, and so now more than 300 Minneapolis park employees will go on a week-long strike, and that starts on July 4th. The strike would affect 35% of Minneapolis park workers. That's 220 year-round employees and 114 seasonal workers. We're told this 7-month back and forth boils down to benefits, working conditions, and pay. The park board said its final contract offer included a pay raise of 10% over the next 3 years. But the union argues that still lags behind what workers in nearby suburbs earn doing the same job.
A strike is always the last resort. We've been bargaining in good faith for nearly 7 months, and following our strike vote, we returned to mediation with a revised proposal that would significantly reduce the overall cost for the park board.
This afternoon at 3, the union representing park workers will have a press conference to talk more about the strike and give updates about negotiations, so expect more details during our later shows.
I know so many of us have family coming into town. Will this impact visitors?
Yes, so actually they're saying that with so many people walking off the job, there will be fewer workers to kind of take care of the park structures, the trees, the traffic lights around parks, but the park board is also saying that they'll try to you know, make services a little better for visitors, so visitors don't have to feel the impact of the strike too much.
Thank you so much for being on top of that, Cece. Well, hours after a deadly shooting in St. Paul, police are still looking for a suspect. It happened late last night in the Payne-Phelan neighborhood. Michelle Beck has updates from the scene.
All morning long, we've seen investigators go in and outside of this home. Here we are in the backyard. Two things notably. One, I've seen detectives focus in on that surveillance camera right there, hoping presumably to get some footage off of that surveillance camera as to what happened. And also, two, detectives going inside and out of that home, taking photographs of the scene here. Now, at this point, police have not arrested the shooter. You can see in this overnight video cops all over the Payne-Phelan neighborhood, including on someone's yard with a part of the scene covered by those black curtains. St. Paul police say they found a man with gunshot wounds. When around 8:30 last night, they were called to the home near the corner of York and Mendota. First responders tried to save the victim, but they pronounced him dead on scene. Police say this is the 13th homicide so far this year here in St. Paul. Compare that to the same time last year when there were 17 homicides. In St. Paul, Michelle Beck, KARE 11 News.
Well, the shooting last night happened just a few blocks from where another man was shot and killed last week. In the last 12 hours, St. Paul police said they made a second arrest in that case. 30-year-old Lawrence Phelps is now charged with second-degree murder in connection to the death. Police also arrested a 17-year-old last week. Well, today we have a better look at what's behind the charges facing nationally recognized Twin Cities chef Justin Sutherland. Lou Raguse is tracking this story and the brutal allegations behind those charges.
According to the criminal complaint, Justin Sutherland strangled the alleged victim, pointed a gun at her, and threatened to kill her. Sutherland has been involved with several restaurants in the Twin Cities and currently owns Big E in St. Paul. He's also been featured on shows Iron Chef, Fast Foodies, and Top Chef. On Friday, according to the criminal complaint, 2 people called 911. Sutherland's friend, who said he broke up a fight between Sutherland and his girlfriend, and a stranger who was walking his dog, who says he saw the woman with her hands up and Sutherland holding a gun. The woman told police that Sutherland first strangled her, then destroyed her phone when she tried calling her sister. Then she says when Sutherland had the gun, he said, quote, "I'm not kidding, I'll shoot you. This is my property." Sutherland's attorney says that he denies practically all the allegations, saying he never pointed a gun and never strangled anyone. He characterizes it as an argument between 2 people whose relationship was coming to an end, and that Sutherland is looking forward to the truth coming out in the court process.
A western Wisconsin woman convicted in a murder that happened nearly 40 years ago will likely spend the rest of her life in prison. This morning, 81-year-old Mary Jo Bailey was sentenced to life with a chance of parole after 20 years for a 1985 murder. Last month, she was found guilty in Polk County of first-degree murder and the death of Yvonne Minky in a St. Croix Falls apartment. It wasn't until late last year that the prosecutors had the evidence they needed to arrest Bailey. In our next half hour, Cece will break down what changed over the decades after this case sat cold for some time. A video into our newsroom less than 24 hours ago is a reminder of how quickly things can become dangerous out on the roads. It shows a close call crash on 35W near Hennepin Avenue in Minneapolis during yesterday's evening commute. We want to warn you, it may be disturbing for some viewers. Now you can see in the top left corner of the screen here a motorcycle sliding across the highway. Then a dump truck swerves to avoid them, rear-ending another vehicle. Smoke from the truck's brakes blanketing the road there. State Patrol says the man on the motorcycle was taken to the hospital. No word on his injuries, but we do know that they are not life-threatening. No one else was hurt. Minutes from now, Governor Walz will be alongside the collapsing Rapidan Dam near Mankato for an update on flood conditions and recovery efforts. We're finally seeing high water levels start to recede. Jason Hackett breaks down some flooding updates from other parts of the state.
Federal funding is on the way for 22 Minnesota counties affected by flooding. The money, approved by President Biden, is available to state, tribal, and some local governments and local nonprofits to reimburse for repairs and cleanup. More counties could be added as crews continue to assess damage. In Stillwater, floodwaters on the St. Croix River appear to be receding. The river crested around 24 hours ago at just over 88 feet in moderate flood stage. Late last week, the city postponed its July 4th celebration, saying it won't be able to host fireworks and festivities because of flooding at Lowell Park. In St. Paul, the Mississippi River has fallen nearly a foot since cresting over the weekend, but the river is still in major flood stage. And at Valley Fair, water has gone down 3 feet since the Minnesota River crested on Saturday. The main parking lot is still flooded, so the park is shuttling visitors from other lots. 3 rides are still closed. Its July 4th fireworks are canceled, and the park is running on adjusted hours.
In the Caribbean, Hurricane Beryl is now a Category 5, marking the earliest we've seen that strong of a storm in the Atlantic. Starting today, is expected to start impacting Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It could hit areas of Mexico. We're already seeing some of the damage in areas hit by the storm, including the Barbados.
This is madness. I have never seen this in my 46 years of life. There's nothing more we can do but stand and watch total destruction. Our livelihood gone down the drain.
Areas that are in the path of the storm are now getting schools ready as shelters. At least 60 people are dead and many more are hurt after a stampede at a religious gathering in northern India. More than 150 people are in the hospital, and a medical official says the death toll may rise. Local media reports the stampede happened as people rushed to leave after the event. Police say overcrowding may have been a factor. Initial reports say more than 15,000 people were gathered. That's about 3 times how many people were allowed. The Minnesota Council on American Islamic Relations wants to know why the Lino Lakes City Council tabled the Medina Lakes development project. They're holding a media conference right now. The development would build homes for roughly 1,200 people, restaurants, and a mosque. Some residents are concerned about the size of the development and the traffic it would bring. The city will vote next Monday on a moratorium for land where the development would be.
We've got a couple of updates on events that are expected to boost the economy. First, downtown Minneapolis will be transformed into a Formula One racetrack this fall. British racer David Coulthard will zip up and down South 4th Street on a temporary custom track on September 14th. It will be a day of extreme sports, including freestyle, motocross. Red Bull says even more performances will be announced as the events get closer. Even better, the entire event is free. And a literal icon of the West End in St. Louis Park is no more. The Showplace Icon Theater showed its final film this weekend, but the doors won't be closed for long. The building will reopen next week as a Marcus Theater. The Milwaukee-based company says once open, the West End Cinema will be the 8th Marcus Theater in Minnesota. They've even welcomed the staff at Showplace to join their crew. So cool. I love the movies.
Yes, I'm always in that area. It's a really cool spot.
So cool.